Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to talk to you today about what caused World War I. The reason that I'm going to do this is because I was participating in the chat with my friend and fellow YouTuber Ronaldo host live stream, and I asked him questions about the Afrikaner Rebellion in 1914 and South Africa's involvement in World War I, and asked what he knew about it. Long story short, he asked the audience what had caused World War I. Now, that's a complicated situation. I made some comments there on the chat, but the situation is complex, okay? Now, overall, yes, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Austria did technically cause World War I, but it's a lot more complicated than that. It was a group of rogue Serbian officers called the Black Hand that went in there and assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Now, when the Archduke was assassinated, the Habsburg Emperor of Austria conducted a funeral, and the funeral lasted 15 minutes. And instead of talking about his nephew very much, he talked about how Serbia should be punished, how Austria should assert their dominance in Europe, and that Austria should react, and that Serbia was a bad nation. It was more of a political pro than the memory of his own family member. Now, and the Serbian government did not know what was going on. This was a group of rogue Serbian officers that did this. Now, the officers didn't just wake up one day and say, let's go assassinate Franz Ferdinand. Well, they shouldn't have done that. Austria has a Slavic population that they had largely been oppressing. They had been denying voting rights to. They had been denying equal rights to, equal protection under the law, and it had been happening for years. And the Austrian government just either participated in it or let lynch mobs handle the Slavic populations. They just looked the other way. Now, France said they were going to support, Russia said they were going to support Serbia, and France said they were going to support Russia. Now, the UK said they were not going to get involved in this war unless the Germans invaded Belgium. And on the Schlieffen Plan, the Germans would have to go through neutral Belgium to get to France. Germany requested free pass through Belgium twice. The Belgian government said no. The Belgian government said neutrality. Well, there was a treaty years ago between the UK and Belgium that said if Germany invaded Belgium, that UK would have to come to their aid, or if any country invaded Belgium, the UK would have to come to their aid, and the UK did. So that's what caused World War I. Now, as far as South Africa goes, there was a portion of the Afrikaner population that wanted to forgive the UK for what the UK did in the Boer War, and they wanted to align themselves with the UK in World War I. Prime Minister Louis Botha and his Defense Minister Jan Smuts were amongst those. But then there was a portion of the Afrikaner population that wanted to align with Germany because Germany, a few years ago, supported the Afrikaner cause in the Boer War. So that's why there was an Afrikaner rebellion in 1914. So the way it looks like, the Allies were not the bad guys in World War I. When Germany invaded neutral Belgium, there was a lot of pillaging of Belgian villages, a lot of assassination of Belgian civilians. Now, there was cooperation between the Belgian hospitals and the German medics, and they were jointly treated patients together, Belgian and German. I'm not saying all the German soldiers there were bad at all, but there were a lot of German atrocities that took place in Belgium when Germany went through Belgium in World War I to try to get to France. So, now, like I said, that's my belief that the Allies were not the bad guys in World War I. My friend Chris Wyatt has a different opinion on it. But what caused World War I was sort of the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, but it was a lot more complex of an issue. Austria had a monarchy rule. They didn't have a democratic rule, and neither did Germany. They were under the rule of Kaiser Wilhelm II. And what Germany told Austria, we're behind you 100%. And whatever Austria wants to do, Germany will go along with it. So Germany kind of gave what you call a blank check. Austria started invading Serbia and these other countries. Germany went along with it and wanted to invade France and go through, and if they had to go through Belgium, that's what Germany was willing to do. So anyways, hope everybody's doing well. Take care. God bless and bye. Bye-bye.